Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you very much, everyone, because the World Service are joining us here as well in Bavaria for the 2025 UEFA Champions League final, the 70th final in the history of this great competition. The flags are waving, the scarves are waving. PSG have their tifo in place in the stands. There is quite the atmosphere inside the Munich stadium. Big noise coming out of both ends of the three tiers of the home of Bayern Munich for this actually slightly offbeat Champions League final. Chris Sutton, I feel the fact that there's no Spanish involvement, no German involvement, no English involvement, and each of the last 20 finals have had one or both clubs from those three countries.
That does feel really odd. And am I right saying it's the first time these two teams have
competitively?
Yeah, I mean that's incredible.
First time these two managers have taken on each other competitively.
I mean it is, you chuck all those things into the mix. It is incredible. This is interim PSG, two European giants as such, and then you put in both teams' roots to the final. PSG slow start, and they've finished the season so strongly, dispatched three English teams on the way to getting here, and then the wily old Inter. How much of that semi-final did that semi-final against Barcelona?
That changes things quite dramatically, I feel. If they'd had two 1-0 wins against, I don't know, whoever it happened to be, but because they did that against that team, I think it changes the perspective completely. Anyway, I mean, the scene that we've got in front of us is a real feast for the senses, isn't it? And the tifo, the PSG tifo, which said in French, together we are unbeatable. That was the message that they put out across the middle of it, and now that's been tucked away. We've got the teams lining up for the start of the match. The two big decisions that were made by the coaches: Doué plays, and Barcola is only among the substitutes for Paris Saint-Germain. And for Inter, Pavard is fit, important big player, a winning player, a World Cup winner in 2018, and indeed Pavard, a Champions League winner against PSG back in 2020 when he was playing for Bayern Munich, so he's in the team. So the PSG side, other than that, as expected, Donnarumma, Hakimi, Marquinhos the captain, Pacho, Nuno Mendes, then that midfield of Vitinha, João Neves and Fabian Ruiz, and then up front Ousmane Dembele, the 33-goal top scorer, with Desiré Doué and Kavica Kvaratskhelia either side of him, and Inter in their yellow shirts, Jan Sommer in goal, Pavard, Acerbi and Bastoni, the three central defenders, Dumfries and DiMarco as the wing-backs, Çalhanoğlu, Barella and Mkhitaryan, who've hardly mentioned, Mkhitaryan at 36, starting the Champions League final, and then Marcus Thuram and the captain Lautaro Martinez up front. So here we go. The first Champions League final here in this great Bavarian city since Chelsea won it back in 2012. PSG kick off and Vitinha belts it downfield out for a throw-in.
It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, it's a bit like a rugby kick to touch.
What on earth was that?
I don't know whether I've seen that before. You expect something like that from maybe a Stoke City?
I was just going to say Neil Warnock might have come up with something like that, with all due respect, Chris. So Chris Sutton's with us for the commentary. World Service listeners are with us as well on 5 Live. Listeners, well, wherever you are tonight, BBC Sounds, if you're on the move, you'll find all of your radio networks there, your BBC radio networks. And PSG they are the home team tonight, so they're in the almost all navy blue kit with the red and white trim, that big stripe down the front of the blue shirts. And Dembele with the first touch, but it bounces back. Thuram is on the move. Thuram through the middle, but an important interception from Nuno Mendes. That was a little victory early on from the left back, and then on the halfway line, Hakimi, the other full-back for Paris Saint-Germain, keeps the ball against DiMarco.
And I think the truth is, John, we knew how PSG would start this game. They'll start on the front foot. I don't think anybody was quite sure about how Inter would start, but looks like they'll pick their moments when to press high and then when to drop off.
There's a lot of talk yesterday when we were doing all of the talking about how PSG would cope with the front two of Inter, Martinez and Thuram. So that's definitely one to watch. And I mean, the two of them there together right now, they're less than 10 yards apart, the two front men.
And you know, he plays that way, Simone. Inzaghi likes the two up top, and you know, it's of paramount importance that they do play close together. They don't get dragged apart. You know, that becomes far more difficult for them.
So PSG 0, Inter 0. Paris Saint-Germain looking to create club history tonight by winning the Champions League and lifting that European Cup for the first time. Paris playing the ball forward towards the edge of the area. That's good. Out here's little Barella, but he's giving it away. Doué's onto this, the teenage, and out of the edge of the area. Challenge came in on him. Doué works it across, but the clearance was there. And one of the Inter players has gone down, and I think might have fallen awkwardly as he tried to put in the challenge on the edge of the area. Çalhanoğlu, who I thought I saw him twist his foot. In fact, he's saying that he got a hand in the face from Doué. Yeah. But the referee, I should mention, Chris, Romanian referee tonight, Istvan Kovac, who tonight, you know, he's one of the most experienced, of course he is. He completes the set of the 3 European finals. He's ref the Conference League, he's ref the Europa League, now he's got the Champions League. Chris?
Yeah, just wondered there when Doué got in the half-turn whether he could have actually slid a ball through to Dembele. Took a touch or two and it eventually crowded out.
So free kick was given to Inter, who strike it away downfield, and it comes back to the halfway line. And Pavard gets his first touch, having missed the last 6 matches, back to Sommer. The Swiss goalkeeper got it on his left foot, but was put under pressure immediately by Dembele, and that's forced him to kick it straight out of play for a throw-in to PSG, halfway inside the Inter half. Inter themselves 3 times winners of this competition, but not since 2010 when Jose Mourinho's team won it. Diego Milito scored both goals. I saw so many Milito shirts today trying to evoke that spirit. And of course, Inter losing in the final 2 years ago against Pep Guardiola and co in Istanbul. Here's Vitinha. PSG already dominating the possession. Inzaghi said that his team would be looking to get as much of the ball as possible, but this is the early pattern that we expected, as it's won back on the halfway line by Mkhitaryan, who is bundled over near the centre circle, and that has given us a free kick.
Yeah, and really well organised there, Inter sitting deep that back 5, and then when they do win the ball, they'll attack with pace. Mkhitaryan, be interesting to see how long he lasts at the ripe old age of 36.
Beautiful evening here. It's warm, dry. It has actually clouded over above the Allianz Arena as the ball is played through the middle to Martinez, but he couldn't get that pass right, hit it short, and Hakimi was able to give it to Marquinhos, who knocks it back. Marquinhos, if they're able to do it tonight, would mean so much to him. He played in the final in Lisbon as a midfielder, actually started that match, Marquinhos, against Hansi Flick's Bayern Munich. That was Thomas Tuchel's Paris Saint-Germain, if you remember. Sommer now with the ball on the edge of his box, long clearance downfield, but that drift straight out of play for a throw-in to PSG. They've certainly got into their stride, Luis Enrique's team. A long throw. Here's Kvaratskhelia trying to get round the outside of Pavard, but he did his job, did it well, and then Inter win themselves a throw-in 10 yards inside their own half. The PSG fans to our left, that is the end that the French champions are defending in the first half, and they are doing their job. And at the other end, all of that blue and black, so much of it, with the odd white and yellow shirt spattered around in amongst it, but it is mainly the black and blue, il nerazzurri of Internazionale. Here is Marquinhos, 10 yards inside his own half, looks forward, sees Fabian Ruiz, European Championship winner with Spain now, attempting to become a European champion with his club. Fabian Ruiz straight onto this again, plays it down the left. Doué on the chase. Doué, who has got company there with him, and he's handed off the ball by Bastoni, and Doué was pushed off the pitch altogether, and it has given us a free kick, which was hotly disputed by Inter.
Yeah, Bastoni, I mean, it's little and large, isn't it? And I don't think Bastoni really wants to get drawn out in those wide areas up against Doué. I think Doué may have the beating of him. It's important they double up, and Doué, yeah, I mean, he's shoved, but it's one of those where I think Doué's made a bit of a meal of it. An opportunity from a wide free kick now.
Remember, Inter have scored 11 of their 26 Champions League goals this season from set pieces. So here it is then defending a set piece as Vitinha strikes it in towards the back post. It's whipped right across everyone. Taken down at the back post. Here's the cross in. Off the head it bounces to Vitinha again at the back post. He chips it in there. A stretch from Marquinhos, who goes to ground. And off his head, bounces behind for a goal kick to Inter, and it remains 0-0.
I think Pavard does brilliantly. They're at the back, post 4. Inter as they try and play their way out, or they play their way out successfully at the moment. PSG are not letting up with their press.
They are not. They are really putting Inter under pressure. But eventually they work it to DiMarco, but DiMarco gives it away. Cheers, French cheers. Vitinha now 30 yards out, takes it on a little further, puts his foot on the ball, then to the edge of the box. Then it comes back to Fabian Ruiz. Fabian Ruiz out to the right-hand side. Little João Neves is there, the Portuguese with the curly black hair, back in towards another Portuguese. Vitinha. They'll be here again on Wednesday night with Roberto Martinez, the Portuguese coach. They come here to play in the Nations League against Germany. Roberto Martinez is here this evening. Roy Hodgson as well, the former England manager, but the former Inter manager as part of the UEFA Technical Committee. We saw him on the pitch before the game. Vitinha still 15 yards inside Inter territory. Back to the right-hand side. They are putting some pressure on Inter here. Step over from Doué. Then it's delivered to Dembele on the edge of the area. Back to Vitinha. Vitinha thinks about the shot, but there are too many Inter players between him and the edge of the penalty area. So PSG go back to the edge of the back towards the halfway line. Nuno Mendes then out towards the right-hand side. Fabian Ruiz in. Hakimi tries to cross it, but it's blocked by the defender DiMarco, who is able to turn, see the ball in front of him, and whacks it away to the halfway line. But PSG back in possession again. That looked like a foul on Vitinha. Referee waves the advantage. Fabian Ruiz, more encouragement for the PSG supporters as the tall Spanish midfielder Fabian Ruiz is able to keep possession, just gliding in from the right-hand side. Now it's the Moroccan international Hakimi, the former Inter man, had one season at Inter. Then infield, Vitinha, Nuno Mendes picks out the ball towards the edge of the box, and the shot from the angle from Doué, who popped up there towards the left corner of the box, is straight at Sommer, who's able to gather it into his yellow shirt.
Yeah, it's a good switch of play from PSG. You can play that way against a 3-5-2, quick switches of play, get a bit of dominance, overloads in those wide areas.
It's been intense, that pressure, hasn't it? And Inter just can't get out. Although here they are with Thuram, Martinez, Lautaro Martinez out to the right-hand side to Dumfries. Barella's ball across the penalty area is headed down at the back post safely by João Neves, who's kind of dropped in at right back while Hakimi is further forward. And then it's played back to Donnarumma, who might be getting his first touch, Chris.
The thing is with Inter, John, I don't think they care whether they suffer a little bit. I think they actually quite enjoy suffering at times. As long as they get a favourable result, they'll hang on in there. They'll defend deep at times. They'll chuck the bodies on the line. They'll be resilient. They'll have their moments in this game, I'm sure of that.
Yeah, and it's part of the fabric of Inter defending. Long has been, decades and decades, back to when they first won this competition back in the mid-60s under the great Helenio Herrera, who was very much part of the Italian Catenaccio brigade, the door-bolt defending. So that's where it came from. And here we are, 2024-25. What happened in the group stage? Inzaghi's Inter conceded one goal in the group stage. But here comes Dembele, cutting in from the right, and then the left foot shot was weak, and it was straight at goalkeeper Sommer, who was able to see it bounce up into his chest.
And that's your central striker, PSG, drifting out into that wide right area. I actually think it's a tame effort. Sommer gathers easily, but has a decent shooting opportunity for Dembele, in off that right-hand side, on his left foot.
That was given away by Mkhitaryan in the centre area, so PSG have got it again. 0-0 if you just joined us, 5 live from the BBC and the World Service as well. Here is the excellent Kvaratskhelia on the left-hand side. Fabian Ruiz has popped up there, back to Vitinha, back into the box, Doué with a chance, squares it, there it is, in the middle, Hakimi makes it 1-0 Paris Saint-Germain. It's the right back, they love that, they love their goal-scoring right backs, and he's there on the edge of the 6-yard area to give PSG the lead in the 12th minute. Brilliantly worked, slick football, just exactly what we expect from Luis Enrique's Paris Saint-Germain. Total football.
Now what a start to the game from PSG. They thoroughly deserve it. They've been the dominant team. They've pushed into back, and they work it brilliantly. Clever little ball, and the half turn, and Hakimi all of 6 yards out. I think it's Doué on the drift, and it's a great pick. Left-hand side of the box, and he gets his head up. I wonder whether he thought about shooting. He didn't. He was unselfish and picks out Hakimi, who's as free as a bird, 6-7 yards out, centre of the goal, and he just side foots the ball in easily. What a start for PSG.
Paris Saint-Germain 1, Inter 0. A storming start from the French champions, and they've got the early goal that they were looking for. And it is remarkable, isn't it, how these fullbacks, whether it's Nuno Mendes on one side, we've not really seen him come forward, or whether it's Hakimi as it is in this case. That's his 9th goal of the season. You know, he's provided the assists for so many as well. And Hakimi, who scored in the French Cup final last weekend to effectively clinch it, scored in the second leg against Arsenal, scored against Aston Villa, and now he scored in the Champions League final.
Yeah, right back in name only, really, is it? You know, plays all up that right-hand side, doesn't he? Right back, right winger, inside right, took up a brilliant position in the box. He was unmarked. But also the way in this opening period that PSG have interchanged and players on the drift. Doué a couple of times just drifted over to that left-hand side, very hard to mark, and that was the key. He was found free and just squared to Hakimi, one up, and Inter. Talked about Inter's experience. They're going to have to use every ounce of it to get back in this game, because they are a team who are being dominated, cannot get up the pitch.
And how tough is that for the Inter supporters? At that end, one of their own played for Inter for one season, won the league under Conte, and there he was on the edge. As you said, Chris, free as a bird, and it is the year of the bird, as we keep being told, to pop it in on the edge of the box. And I mean, they had their pockets picked, if I can spit it out, there by PSG. As you say, inside left, outside right, they didn't know where he was. He was free as can be and popped it in the net.
Yep. And it has been a feature of PSG. The longer the season has gone on, the confidence has been there in forward areas. Well, not just in forward areas, all over the pitch. And they just back themselves. They think their build-up play is going to be better than the opposition's. And in every area, they have great strength. And the talk before the game about Doué, John, would he start?
And how effective has he been? And he set up the goal. Vitinha's pass was the scalpel's touch, wasn't it, from Vitinha on the edge of the area, who played it through perfectly for Doué, who just squared it for Hakimi. So PSG 1, Inter 0. They didn't score in the final back in 2020. They were beaten by one of their own, if you remember then. Kingsley Coman, the Paris boy, who scored the winner for Bayern Munich. But here it's different, and it is Luis Enrique's team who are in front, as he attempts to win it for the second time as a coach after his Barcelona days 10 years ago. But he's built this team, even though this is still only his second season. This PSG team has got the thumbprint of Luis Enrique all over it, and part of that is doing exactly what they've done in the opening 15 minutes of this match. But Inter now having to respond. They've barely been behind in the Champions League this season. I think in total it's something like 17 minutes before tonight that Inter have been behind in this whole competition.
Yeah, that is incredible. And in this opening 16 minutes, Inter haven't been able to get up the pitch. We talked about the importance of the centre forwards linking up there for the first time. Long ball into Ram, and Martinez drawing the foul. It's really important they do that.
Thuram now forcing it forward. Dumfries on the chase. William Pacho is back there. Kvaratskhelia is back there as well, and that is typical of the work that Kvaratskhelia does. You know, is effectively an auxiliary defender there as Inter broke forward, and now it's all the way back with Sommer at the other end, who had to be quick there under pressure from Dembele, but he just got a toe to it to give it to DiMarco, but DiMarco, that forces the error. And now Nuno Mendes, here's Kvaratskhelia, right foot shot, but he's blazed that, got right underneath it and blazed it high and across the face of goal and beyond the far top corner and into the Inter fans. 1-0 PSG lead.
Yeah, and so dominant, and Kvaratskhelia, you expect better from him, coming inside on that right foot. He's always going to try and come in on that right foot and get a shot off. Pavard backed off, but the shot was high and wide, but it is total dominance, John.
Yeah.
These opening stages.
So 1-0 to PSG. 5 live from the BBC. Inter coming forward, but Marquinhos was there to force it forward, and the play will be stopped because Nuno Mendes has gone down holding the left side of his head, so they will have a look at him. So what a start we've had then. It's a start that matched the build-up, actually. All action, wham bam, and that goal beautifully worked by Vitinha and Doué, and then finished off by Hakimi. So we've got a choice of listening for you right now on the brand new Sports Extra 2. You will hear the T20 Blast, Sports Extra 3, the Super League Catalans against Hull will either have just finished or it'll be coming to an end. We'll get you a scoreline on that in due course. But brand new BBC Sounds, that's where you find them. At the top of the dial on BBC Sounds, Sports Extra 2 and 3, which means that we can bring you more and more and more live sport as the play is back underway. And Nuno Mendes just keeping an eye on him, having received that bang on the head. Seems okay, back up on his feet. And I think probably everybody needed a breather after the start to this match. And smoke billowing out, as it seems every area. And it's all coming from the left. That's where the PSG flares have been. And those smoke sticks. But all is quiet now. All of the red has disappeared. But I mean, it's hanging around. It's like a mist. It's like a London Peace Super. Catalans 0, Hull FC 34 is the final score. And we'll keep you up to date as well with Novak Djokovic, who's playing right now at the French Open and was up early in that match. Throw-in level with the edge of the penalty area. Dumfries to take this, a long loopy throw that's headed on by Thuram, headed across the box by William Pacho, and it was kept in over there on the far side, but Kvaratskhelia is away with it, and the Georgian passes it forward to Dembele. Fabian Ruiz is through the middle, still going with it, Dembele. João Neves arriving, all the way across to the right, Doué with a shot deflected in! Pass Sommer, it's 2-0! PSG are off like a shot in this Champions League final. Luis Enrique and his coaches all celebrate. Nothing Sommer can do about that. First Hakimi, now the teenager Doué. What a choice that is from Luis Enrique. He set one up and he scored the other. The 19-year-old. PSG 2, Inter 0.
Yeah, the right pick. Of course it was the right pick. And it's from one end to the other. Inter actually with the long throw looked like was it going to go out for a corner. I think it's Pacho who keeps the ball in, and then they break. Kvaratskhelia feeds the ball in the left-hand channel, and Dembele does brilliantly. Quick switch of play to Doué, right-hand side of the box, takes the ball down off his chest, one bounce, and bang! And it's the deflection which does for Sommer, who goes down to his right-hand side. And the ball creeps past him, he chokes it into the floor. It's off DiMarco actually, the deflection. And PSG are blowing Inter away. Inter can't get a foothold in this game. We talk about them being resilient, blimey, they're going to have to be now. They're going to have to dig in and try and find a way back in this game, but it's impossible to see at this moment in time. They have been absolutely smothered, blown away.
Yeah, and now the flares are out again. 3, 4, 6, 8 of them, more being lit all of the time. I suspect somebody is making some sort of vain announcement to suggest that maybe they put them out. I'm not sure how successful that's going to be, as Hakimi plays the ball high across his own penalty area. Donnarumma tried to kick it away, got that all wrong, and now Inter with Dumfries with the cross that comes off Nuno Mendes and deflects behind for the first corner of the match. It's gone to Inter. More importantly, 2 goals have gone to PSG, but a corner to Inter.
Yeah, and Julian Laurent talking before the game about his worry this PSG team from set plays.
Yep, so let's see how PSG deal with it. Here comes the corner, which is headed up and over from the edge of the 6-yard box. I think it was Acerbi. It was Acerbi who got there, the grizzled Acerbi with his scraggy beard, got higher than anyone else but couldn't keep the ball down. Not this time, Acerbi.
Just couldn't get up high enough. It's 7 yards out, centre of the goal. Couldn't get over the ball and knot it down, and Donnarumma grateful that crept over the bar.
Paris Saint-Germain 2, Inter 0. Goal kick to the French champions, winning it again this season for a record-extending 13th time. The ball runs back into the Inter penalty area. Inter, who were pipped by Antonio Conte and Napoli and Scott McTominay and Billy Gilmore, and here they are trying to salvage something from this regular season, if you want to call it that, before both of these teams go off next month to America to the newly expanded FIFA Club World Cup. But they were beaten in the semi-finals, Inter, of the Coppa Italia. They lost in the final of the Italian Super Cup as well, which was played in Saudi Arabia. And here they are now, having reached the final of the Champions League, 2-0 down. I suppose the only thing you'd say for them, Chris, is that there is actually still plenty of time to respond. But against this PSG team in the mood that they're in,
yeah, and you can't see PSG not creating more opportunities with the firepower that they have, but they haven't got any sort of foothold in this game. They've had absolutely no control. It's just one-way traffic, isn't it?
I thought it was interesting yesterday, and I wasn't quite sure how this was going to work, as the man who opened the scoring, Hakimi, brings it forward and he gives it to the man who scored the second, Doué. He is absolutely loving this. The 19-year-old on the stage like this, dragging his foot over the ball, dragging it back, taking on players. Probably watched Lamine Yamal in the semi-final, saw what he did against Inter and thought, I fancy a bit of that. And here he is doing it. Doué doing it. Vitinha back to the centre circle to João Neves, who plays it back to William Pacho. So things looking good. Excellent start for Luis Enrique and Paris Saint-Germain. Long pass forward, but Sommer's got that. And Simone Inzaghi has got a lot of thinking to do. What he doesn't want is for this to get any worse. He's standing there almost doing that in front of our eyes with his hand on his chin, very thoughtful in his smart, slim-fitting black suit. Vitinha carrying it on through the middle. Now here is Dembele. He's not got in on the act just yet. That's a worry as well. Hakimi back to Dembele. Just one goal in his last 8 appearances, mind you, which to me means he's due one.
Yeah, that's why I look at it as well. And PSG have been so much in control and dominant. The thing is, the way that PSG set up when Inter have the ball, they're happy to leave their centre-halves 2v2. Pacho and Marquinhos with Arturo Martinez and Thuram. So we can deal with those two. Push Hakimi in high on DeMarco. And the other side, Mendes high. And on Denzel Dumfries. And just say, well, we back ourselves to pressure you in our own half, you'll build up play, you can't play through us.
No, and they can't get the ball off them. PSG dominating the football. Out it comes to Hakimi again on the right-hand side, up against DiMarco, the unfortunate DiMarco. Then Fabian Ruiz tries a shot from the edge of the area, but we were right behind that, as Jimmy Armfield used to say, and it was easily gobbled up in inverted terms, not literally, by Sommer.
Yeah, an easy gather. It was a bit of a lazy attempt from Ruiz. There we go, there's that ball forward.
Up to Thuram, big Thuram on the halfway line, holds it up against William Pacho, the Ecuadorian. I don't know about you, in Munich over the course of the last day or so, I've seen so many Ecuador flags. Feels like the whole Pacho family must be here. Dumfries now for Inter on the right. In it comes. Oh, Martinez thought about the overhead kick there. It was just over him. He was setting himself for it and then realised he couldn't do it.
No, just for a second, it looked like it was within reach, but I think Coutinho got back and smelt the danger, cleared the danger.
Yeah, for older listeners, it was a bit like that feeling when you're trying to get up and you think, can I get up out of this? No, I'm not going to be able to get up out of the seat here. So if you can picture that. For younger listeners, one day that'll come to you. Novak Djokovic has won the first set against the qualifier Filip Misolic at the French Open. So Djokovic is one set up, and if Djokovic wins that, he will play Cameron Norrie in the fourth round after his win against Britain's Jacob Fernley. Jack Draper won earlier. Stacks of coverage and commentary again tomorrow that you'll hear from us at BBC Radio, as Hakimi is dispossessed. Now then Inter. Barella plays it through for DiMarco. Looked as though he was offside, and eventually the flag goes to him, even though Hakimi was able to recover in any case and put the tackle in on DiMarco.
Yeah, do you know, I just wondered for a second whether Barella could have had a shot there. Donnarumma out of his goal in that right back position for PSG, and careless play from Hakimi. Just for a moment, Barella, I thought he could have taken a touch and had a shot. He didn't, elected to pass to DiMarco, who had drifted offside. There's been very little combination play, though, from Inter in the final third.
Haven't had the ball.
That's why there's been very little combination play, John.
PSG 2-0 up. This is the fifth final out of the now 70 finals in this competition that has been hosted here in Munich. And if you haven't heard, what is a remarkable fact is that all of the finals, the previous four finals, have featured first-time winners. And what have we got here? The potential of a first-time winner with PSG 2-0 up. PSG lost here this season in the league phase against Bayern Munich when Dembele was sent off, and actually it was this referee, Istvan Kovac, who sent him off in that match.
Straight red?
Two yellows. One for dissent and one for a tackle that was disputed on Alphonso Davies. Inter coming forward. They won here against Bayern Munich. This is better. Ball down the right. Pulled back. Martinez, though. That was cut out. Comes back across the PSG area, and Vitinha's able to head it down and head it away. And it's out for a throw.
Yeah, on a couple of occasions, Vitinha has been really well positioned when the ball has gone into the PSG box. There's a good run from Pavard initially to release him, and maybe took the wrong option, but credit to Vitinha.
Ball's out of play for a throw-in to PSG. So Paris Saint-Germain leading through the goals from Hakimi and Doué in the 12th and 20th minutes, which means they are in pole position here. They become the 24th club, the 24th different club to win this competition. And a couple of those first-time winners in Munich, Nottingham Forest in the old Olympic Stadium, and Chelsea. Last time it was staged here in 2012. PSG pouring forward. Hakimi again. Doué together. Doué again infield. Look at that confidence, Chris. Outside of his boot to Dembele. Dembele into the box, but the cross is deflected wide of the near post. Corner to PSG.
It's wonderful from Doué, chopping in on that right-hand side, outside of the boot, right-footed pass to Dembele, who once again is not playing as a conventional striker, on the move to the left-hand side of the box, and eventually gets a shot off. That's blocked.
So somewhere through all of that fine mist to our right, Nuno Mendes Another of the PSG Portuguese contingent is going to take this corner and outswing it towards the penalty spot. Oh, the top of Marquinhos. I thought it might have been pushed over by Acerbi. It's dinked back into the back post, but that's over everyone and through. And Marquinhos is saying to referee Kovac, how about that for a push on me?
Yeah, I mean, I had my eye on that, and I mean, there's a tiniest little touch from Acerbi, but Marquinhos is better than that, John.
Yes, he is. You played against Inter, didn't you? Against those rugged Inter defenders.
Oh, Bergamy.
Bergamy.
Yeah, Bergamy.
One of the best. Did he give you a little nudge?
He was very, very sort of cagey at blocking, I should say, yes.
Give your ribs a tickle, did he?
More than a tickle, John.
Did he?
I think he was famous for being slightly rough.
He was. I think that understates it nicely. PSG with the ball inside their own half, a sweltering night here. That's the other thing as well, you know, they are an ageing team, as we have said over and over and over again, and an ageing team without the ball, having to chase and chase, that is not ideal. And in fact, to underline this, Inzaghi has taken off his jacket, so he is in his white shirt sleeves, thin black tie hanging down just like his lank black hair. Pacho, edge of the area, left-footed to the edge of the area, but that is cut out there by Çalhanoğlu, and then it's worked away by PSG. Here they come again, over the halfway line, back to João Neves. The PSG supporters groan, they just want them to go forward, forward and forward, but they are now. Dembele on the right-hand side, back to little Vitinha again, Dembele into the penalty area, goes for the shot come cross, which hits the shins of DeMarco and bounces behind for a PSG corner from the right this time.
I mean, they just interchange so well, don't they? Dembele on the drift, on the left, on the right this time. Always trying to shift the ball on the inside and fire shots off. They just look so much slicker, so much in control. PSG in every area.
They do. They are dominating it with just over 10 minutes to go to half-time. This Champions League final, 5 Live from the BBC. Listening as well on the World Service, wherever you are, on what is a late Saturday evening now here in the south of Germany. Nuno Mendes with this latest corner to the back post. Marquinhos was after it, and it was deflected onto him, actually, by Acerbi and behind for a goal kick. So Doué, what a night he's had so far, the 19-year-old. He's 20 on Tuesday as well, so his birthday just a couple of days away. He scored the goal that clinched the title for PSG this season, and if you remember, this is his 4th goal in the Champions League. Scored a vital goal against Aston Villa in the first leg, the equaliser, when Rodgers had given Villa the lead in the Parc des Princes. As Inter come forward, Mkhitaryan, his ball across the area, flicked away by the heels of Pacho, which took it away from Thuram, and it's out for a throw-in to PSG 10 yards away from their own corner flag. Producer Gary just points me to this, and that is that with that goal, Désiré Doué has become the 3rd teenager to score in a Champions League final.
Was Patrick Kluivert,
he was one of them? Yeah. Do you know the other one?
Was it Carlos Alberto?
It was. Honestly, Chris, you are on fire tonight. Carlos Alberto for who was it again? Who was he playing for?
I cheated, John. I just every screen there.
It was for Porto against Monaco.
I did say, John, on BBC on 5 Live this morning to Ellie that Doué would be the key man this evening.
I think they should get you on again in the morning then and talk about it. Here is Marquinhos, long pass downfield from him, but Sommer's able to come and get it. Well, this has been torrid for Inter this first half in a season. Well, it's been a nearly season for them, and this, even though there is a long way to go, there's over half of the match to go, 10 minutes to go to half time. It's a tall order already for them, but Martinez and Thuram together. Dumfries makes the run, but Thuram goes back and goes in the other direction. So now Dumfries is there on the edge of the penalty area. Now the yellow shirts, these goldy yellow shirts with that sort of bluish mottled effect on the sides. Ball on the right hand side, whipped across to the near post, but Pacho is there in front of Thuram just to see it behind for a corner.
It only takes a goal, doesn't it, from Inter, 2-0. Everybody talks about the next goal. That's all it will take for PSG to get nervous.
Yes, exactly. And after being involved in that semi-final, then anything's possible. Inter with the corner. Here it is, curling to the back post. Headed all wide by Thuram. He got up so well at the back post. He headed it wide of the post instead of inside the post. And I have to say, for a split second there, I thought that's in.
Yep, same. We are right behind this. He sees it all the way through and gets up brilliantly. It's a poor header. He's 6 yards out, nearly level with the far post. I think he's trying to be too accurate there. Always think in those situations, go back across the goalkeeper into the far corner. Tries to beat Donnarumma at his near post, and it's a yard wide. That's their biggest opportunity, and you sort of feel, John, they have to take them.
Yeah. PSG still 2-0 up. That's Chris Sutton, Premier League winner, Champions League player, Champions League goal scorer against some of the big clubs, and indeed played in a European final. Well, it's been Paris Saint-Germain's final so far, this one. Attempting, as I say, to become the 24th different club to win it. 6 English clubs have won it. Celtic, of course, the first British club to win this competition back in 1967. But Marseille, the great rivals of PSG, the only French club thus far to have lifted the famous trophy. It's a goal kick for PSG as half-time approaches. Donnarumma waiting to take this, the former AC Milan goalkeeper. That's where he cut his teeth. Donnarumma, I was watching him last night. They actually played a match without any goalkeepers, and Donnarumma was playing as an outfielder, and I have to say, Chris, he looked like an absolute liability. As Vitinha passes the ball out of play for a throw into Inter on the halfway line. Inter just with a little sniff here, tiniest aroma.
Yeah, when you started that Donnarumma outfielder conversation there, I thought it was going to end like that.
As it bounces through for Donnarumma, who's able to. Marquinhos left it, and Donnarumma was very quickly out, as we know he can do, and he got the ball very safely. In all honesty, Chris, I thought Donnarumma in that match last night was going to take out at least a couple of PSG players out of the final, as the ball is played to the edge of the area. Thuram with a flick. Martinez tries to get there, but Marquinhos very coolly steps across. There's a little exchange between Marquinhos and Donnarumma, which was quite firm, and they come again. Inter with Bastoni, the defender of the year in the Italian top flight this season. Bastoni. Now Dumfries on the right hand side, ball in, cleared by Marquinhos. Barella with a heavy touch. Marquinhos then on the challenge, but the Italian international Barella is able to hold it. Dumfries with a cross. Pacho wasn't quite sure in the end, half volleyed it away, and Kvaratskhelia was able to take it down and pass it back into the PSG defensive third. First real period of the match where PSG have been under any sort of what you would describe as being sustained pressure, and they're back in possession now, just as they like it. Little Vitinha, the former Wolves midfielder, don't forget, plays it via Dembele. Kvaratskhelia on the move now with his socks down, back to Dembele, 20 yards out. Dembele clips it across the penalty area. Doué, who's been quiet actually the last 20 minutes or so, but we can give him that after his opening 20 minutes when he created one goal and scored the other. 2-0 it is to Luis Enrique's Paris Saint-Germain. Fabian Ruiz now with the ball, and it's flicked back towards the halfway line, and here is Vitinha again. Absolutely loves the ball at his feet. Gets it back now from Dembele in a deep lying position. Kvaratskhelia is in a central area. Then João Neves playing as the deeper of the three really over the course of the match so far, the little number 87. Then he gets it back. João Neves, Fabian Ruiz, passing the ball between the two of them. It's almost like watching a training exercise. Now Marquinhos with the thick curly hair, he brings it forward to the right flank. Hakimi, and then PSG go back towards the halfway line, and it's snuffed out that pressure, although Marquinhos has overhit a ball away beyond Dembele and out for a throw-in. But that's all it's done there. The PSG, that little bit of pressure that Inter had, PSG get the ball back and just keep it.
It's not sustained, and that's because Inter, they're not capable of keeping the ball for long periods because of PSG. They're more mobile, more athletic, the press is better. There we see Hakimi right up, Sommer clips the ball out left-footed, right up on Di Marco, the left wing-back for Inter, not letting him get his head up. We've barely seen him in this game, Di Marco. It's such an important player. We talk about the Inter wing-backs and what a great season both of them have had, but tonight they've barely had a kick.
Yeah. Here is Nuno Mendes, heads it forward towards the halfway line. I mean, it was quite a contrast last night. I mentioned the PSG approach, very relaxed, with Donnarumma doing, what he was doing, as Inter are claiming that this throw-in should have gone their way, or possibly a handball actually there. Inter were absolutely on it. Their approach in their training session last night, we were able to watch all of it. I mean, Inzaghi was acting like it was a proper match. He was like he normally is on the touchline. It was very, very intense. But different approaches. You do what you think is right, don't you?
Absolutely. In the end, all that matters is
what happens here.
Yeah.
And here is Kvaratskhelia. Kvaratskhelia now, little ball in, and then back to the halfway line. Kvaratskhelia, who's already he's got 2 championship winners' medals this season, because he obviously got one for Napoli now. So Napoli and PSG. Ball down the left-hand side, and they come again with Doué. PSG into the box, whipped across at the back post, and it's driven. Now, did that actually come off the frame of the goal? The attempt at the back post from Dembele. It's been kept in play on the far side. They come again. PSG, edge of the box. Dembele was the man at the far post who was stretching for the contact on that. What happened to it?
I hope for his sake it did come off the frame of the goal, because that would have been it's a bad enough miss anyway. It was Doué once again out on that left-hand side, causing carnage with the cross to the back post. Dembele just ghosted it. He must have been 2 yards out.
Back post, arriving back post. There was a defender there as well. However, the ball pinged away out to the far side, and I can only assume it's come off the angle of post and barrels or some such. So it could easily have been 3-0. Inter with Martinez. Another goal there, and I have to be honest, you'd have to say that would have, with the way that the match has gone, it would have been incredibly difficult to think that Inter could come back from that in a final in the Champions League. And that before, of course.
That would have been curtains. I don't know what curtains is in Italian, but that's Hakimi, the PSG right back, pressing high. I think it's Pavard and Chanalolu in the right back position, the opposite side of the pitch for PSG.
You need Alistair Bruce Ball with you, Chris, to know what curtains is in Italian. It's very good, isn't he, with his Italian? Apparently it is Kende. Or some such.
He had a year at Polytechnic over there, I think, didn't he?
He studied films, I think, didn't he, in Italy? Here, Nuno Mendes cuts this ball out on the halfway line, plays it forward to Doué. Doué's got Fabian Ruiz. Doué's still going, drifts on, shoots low. Sommer goes down to his left, but knew it was rolling wide. That would have absolutely put the seal on it if he'd been able to bury that one.
Yeah, and do you know what? He just drifts past. I think it's Mkhitaryan with the step over. Took the wrong option there. I think he had Neves out to his left-hand side, but there's a tame shot from this shooting position.
Although it put me in mind, actually, of the Tommy Watson finish for Sunderland in the playoff final. That sort of passed it into the net.
Is it not once off Sunderland now? Is he not off?
He is actually, isn't he? Yes, because the season is over for Sunderland. Next we see them will be in the Premier League. We'll be commentating on them, won't we, next season, Sunderland? More Premier League commentaries, even more Premier League commentaries, if you can believe that, than ever before on 5 Live, Sports Extra, Sports Extra 2, Sports Extra 3 next season. So join us for that. But this is Paris Saint-Germain in control, in charge of the Champions League final in 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half, and could easily there in the latter stages have increased their lead. But as it is, the goals from Hakimi and Doué have built a platform for Luis Enrique's team from which they are now strong favourites to lift the trophy. And here comes Kvaratskhelia into the penalty area now. Italian defenders backpedaling, left foot, shoots across goal, and it's deflected, and it bounced rather awkwardly there. Sommer was on his heels as he staggered across the goal line, and if it had taken a left turn there, it might have ended up in the back of the net.
Oh yes, I think it's a yard and a half wide of the far post for Kvaratskhelia, chopping inside on his right foot, chopping again on the outside left and getting the shot off. I think it comes off on Fritz's right heel and drifts past to that far post.
Excellent service from the staff in the media area here, tapping us on the shoulder, asking if we want more water. Here is the corner, and Kvaratskhelia heads it over from 8 yards, 9 yards out, curled onto his head by Dembele, took the corner, and Kvaratskhelia couldn't keep it down. There's the half-time whistle, and listen to that cheer from all of those Paris Saint-Germain supporters who are all on their feet, many of them with their shirts off, hands above their heads, clapping and saying what a half that was. First 45 minutes of a Champions League final. Paris Saint-Germain, they're halfway there to their first title in this competition.
Yeah, but who needs Mbappe when you've got Doué? There was that call before the game. Would it be Doué? Would it be Barcola? Luis Enrique got the right call, didn't he? And Doué, brilliant for the first goal, just drifted into the left-hand side of the box, turned. Most 19-year-olds in that situation, their eyes would have lit up and they would have tried to shoot. He didn't, composed himself, found Hakimi, who stroked the ball in, and then got the second goal. But this, John, has been an absolute mauling this first half. I think sitting here now, how are Inter going to get back into this game? Maybe there'll be changes at half-time, but at this moment in time, it looks like Champions League is going to Paris.
Yeah, and what a half for the 19-year-old. His last match as a 19-year-old before he leaves his teenage years. What a season he's had in the Champions League. I mentioned the goal that Doué scored against Aston Villa, that equaliser, the fact that he scored the goal that clinched the league for them. Remember, he was the one that scored the clinching penalty in the shootout at Anfield as well. So another chapter being written by Désiré Doué, setting up one goal for Hakimi, scoring the other himself. They could have had more at the end of the half. As it is, here in Munich, Paris Saint-Germain 2, Inter 0 at half-time. And inside the stadium with us, Steve Crossman sits to my left with a healthy glow about him. Yes, I've been watching the Inter players while we've seen pictures of them coming down the steps, and now we can see them all. I'll just say no thanks, we don't want any water at the moment. And Bastoni and Acerbi are all there. I'm not sure I can see any players that weren't out there. Mkhitaryan's out there as well. Looks like it's same again, Chris, to me.
He's given him the opportunity, Simone Inzaghi, the opportunity to try and put things right, really. It was such an insipid display in that first half. There was a fear about them, really, and it was the younger, hungrier.
How much was that PSG, though?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I suppose the question is, can PSG keep up this intensity? But the fact that you look at their average age, you compare that to Inters, I suspect they can.
Can they keep up this intensity? Well, having seen them keep up the intensity against Manchester City, keep up the intensity against Liverpool, keep up the intensity against Aston Villa, keep up the intensity against Arsenal, I think they might be able to. But we will see. As referee Istvan Kovac gets the second half underway here in Munich with 70,000 people watching down. Darkness has descended in Bavaria above our heads, and it is Inter in the golden yellow kit with the blue trim, who tried to play it forward, but here's Doué, pass forward, flick from Dembele, Fabian Ruiz, Kvaratskhelia into action, he's in the box now, and he shoots from the angle wide of the top left corner. We've seen that goal already for him this season, haven't we? Planting it into the top corner, but this time just wide.
Yeah, they are so slick. Doué ball fits into Dembele, little back heel. Skelia onto it, driving into the box, and left-footed effort, high and wide from an acute angle.
As Inter take this goal kick, and this is right in front of us because our commentary position is sort of halfway inside one half. Dembele was like an Olympic sprinter waiting on his blocks on the edge of the area for Sommer to take that short goal kick, and then he was off sprinting, trying to put this press on them. But Inter with Martinez. I'll run you through the teams in full again, but it is as we started the match. If you saw the teams or heard the teams earlier, here's Thuram, son of the great Lilian Thuram, World Cup winner, never won the Champions League. Here's Thuram again, gets it back to number 9. In comes the challenge from Pacho. Down goes Thuram, wins the free kick, and Inter have a set piece on the right.
Yeah, and they caused problems for PSG from a couple of corners. So daft free kick to give away from Pacho. A little bit too keen to make the challenge on Thuram. So maybe this is a moment.
So this is 5 Live. This is the genuine sound from inside the stadium here in Munich on 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC. Listening wherever you are around the globe to one of the great sporting events of any year. And at the moment, this is in PSG's hands. But Çalhanoğlu takes the free kick and he gets that all wrong, curls it over everyone inside the box, whether in a blue shirt of Paris or a yellow shirt of Inter, and it bounces behind, and it's a goal kick.
I mean, that's incredible. That free kick whipped in 15-20 yards beyond the far post, just when you need that bit of quality. That sums up Inter's evening so far pretty much perfectly.
Luis Enrique looks as calm as it's possible to be in these circumstances for a man with such energy. He's very casually dressed in black, a black t-shirt. Simone Inzaghi looks as though he's got an appointment with the bank manager, and he steps forward and he claps his hands again, trying to urge his team on. It's interesting, James Horncastle saying to us before the match that this reported offer from Al Hilal would make him the richest manager in world football,
and hence why he might have to have a meeting with his bank manager.
Yeah, I would have thought if you get a job like that, you don't need to have a meeting with your bank manager. Here's Martinez now, slipping a pass out to Barella. Barella curls it in. Thuram tries to take it down. Hakimi had to be careful, and in the end he headed it behind Donnarumma. He wasn't sure where DiMarco was behind him. DiMarco picks the ball up, races towards the corner flag. It's urgency now. Chris Sutton's talked about the importance of this next goal, and Inter know it's got to be them who score it. Çalhanoğlu runs away. DiMarco takes it. DiMarco to the near post, bounces down, still in the PSG box, scrambled away. Out to Mkhitaryan, the referee spotted an infringement.
I think Simone Inzaghi actually, in his technical area, is screaming for a penalty for a handball for Inter. It looks like the call has gone the other way.
Well, they'll have a look. I mean, from our first look there, it seemed to hit the body of Marquinhos as opposed to the arm. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought so.
So it is a free kick to PSG. The fourth official tonight is Portuguese, actually, and the video assistant referee is from the Netherlands. So they are not all from the same country. Referee and assistants from Romania, but the VAR is Dennis Higler. Here is Kvaratskhelia on the move down the left-hand side. Fabian Ruiz's ball across deflected. Kvaratskhelia shoots wide. That was a big opening. Bastoni was down. He was stretching for it, but he couldn't direct the shot into the top corner.
No, and should have scored. That should have been the match right there. Skelia, what an opportunity. Ruiz with the pullback. I think it might have been Cherby actually,
right,
who was down, but maybe he did enough on the floor just to put Skelia off. He took a touch and once again high and wide, 6 yards out on the point of the 6-yard line.
PSG 2, Inter 0. That's been the scoreline since the 20th minute of the match. If you weren't with us in the first period, PSG went off like a bull at a gate, really. They were just too much. They were too hot to handle. I must say, Chris, it was, to me, watching so much Manchester City over the course of recent times, when Manchester City have really been in the groove and they've set their sights on starting off powerfully, that's what it reminded me of. But this is Luis Enrique's team, not Pep Guardiola's team. And PSG passing it forward again. Fabian Ruiz turns, slips it to his left. Dembele curling across the face of goal. Didn't get enough curl on it by any distance, actually. He wanted to draw it in, but it just kept its line beyond the far post.
The Dembele getting that opportunity, John, that was because he shut Jan Sommer down. Hurry clearance up the park, went to Mendes. Quick ball into Ruiz, fed Dembele. And you half fancy him in that position, drifting in on his right foot, trying to bend the ball into that far corner. But their intensity out of possession, they just do not stop running. They have outworked Inter, haven't they?
Yeah. And there's been an immense amount talked and written about Dembele being left out by Luis Enrique when they went to the Emirates to Arsenal in the league phase, and it was all to do apparently with his work for the team. Well, my goodness, he's got his act together on that front, Dembele, hasn't he? What a team man he is, providing the goals as well. And he was talking about him as being a leader for this team, Dembele, as PSG win another free kick 10 yards inside their own half after DiMarco was in tight there and committing the foul on Hakimi. Apparently the UEFA statistics, Chris, say that Inter have run 4 kilometres more than Paris Saint-Germain as a team just now.
Yeah, it's not how far you run, it's how you run though, John.
Yeah. It ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it.
Yeah, just got my straws out there.
As Inter win a free kick on the right hand side. Well, he is going to make a couple of changes, Simone Inzaghi, with almost 8 minutes played in the second half. So he's going to take off Pavard, who has missed the last 6 matches. So Jan Bissek is going to come on to replace him. And the other change, we'll see DiMarco coming off. Federico DiMarco, who will be replaced by the Polish international Nikola Zalewski. So double change. Çalhanoğlu takes this free kick in, and Donnarumma came and didn't get there, and it came off a defender's head, or possibly Donnarumma himself deflected up and over his own crossbar. Cherby was in for Inter, and Donnarumma's ended up on the ground, but I'm not sure he got there at all, Chris.
He's still down, Donnarumma. There's a ball fizzed in. Donnarumma goes to punch, collides with Marquinhos. It is coming together. Cherby can't quite get the flick. Donnarumma back on his feet. And PSG with some defending to do.
I assume that it's not a problem, an injury problem for DiMarco, so what a disappointment that is for him. Here is the next corner. Donnarumma comes, flaps at it. It bounces out. It's drilled across the box by the newly, as it bounces all the way to the other end to Sommer, who's able to turn it away. The chance on the edge of the box for Inter, the shot across goal, which was deflected away and then cleared away downfield by Paris Saint-Germain. Remains 2-0, but a couple of alarms there for Paris Saint-Germain. One for Dembele to chase. Bissek is able to turn it back to Sommer, who gets rid of it quickly on his right foot up towards the edge of up towards the centre circle. Barella's after that. Now there's more energy from Inter. Lautaro Martinez heads it forward. Barella just outside the edge of the penalty area. There's the overlap to the left-hand side. Cutting infield, the shot initially is blocked. That's the newly arrived Zalewski with the effort inside the area. And with that second effort, he actually caught the defender and has committed the foul, and it's a free kick to PSG on the edge of their own box.
Yeah, Zalewski coming inside, not on his right foot. Neves gets the first block, and in his attempt to retrieve the ball. Catches, I think it's Fabian Ruiz. Trying to give them a bit of impetus, a bit of drive down that left-hand side. Zalewski.
So a little stoppage here. PSG after the Fabian Ruiz just gets to his feet. The score: PSG 2, Inter 0. Hakimi and Doué the goal scorers. Doué setting up the goal for Hakimi and then shooting in via a deflection off DiMarco. And as I say, Federico DiMarco, who, as James Horncastle was saying on 5 Live at half-time, he's an Inter fan, born in Milan, would be in the stands watching Inter. Son of a greengrocer, he is a Milan greengrocer. The club means so much to them, and here he is, Champions League final. They lost 2 years ago. Now they're facing defeat for a second time in 3 years, and he's been substituted. And maybe an issue, we don't know, but Zalewski coming on to replace him. PSG serenaded by the drums of the French supporters. Ball passed from deep into the penalty area, but Sommer's able to clear. Now a turn by Thuram, went between 2 French defenders, Pacho and João Neves. Between them they sandwiched Thuram. That's a free kick near the centre circle. And referee Kovac has been called across to speak to someone, I think, on the Inter bench, and he's calling for Simone Inzaghi, and it's a yellow card for Simone Inzaghi. Meanwhile, 10 yards to the left, Luis Enrique is going absolutely crazy about something. Who's he talking to? It's one of the. It might be Dembele. I think it was the player furthest forward. Anyway, yellow card for Simone. Something he said rather amusingly. He disappeared quickly and sat down and had to be beckoned out by referee Kovac to be shown the yellow card. Free kick for Inter as they play from left to right. Both teams now attacking towards the end where the bulk of their supporters are. They win themselves another throw down that left flank. But will be hurled in from deep, from level with the edge of the PSG penalty area. There have been a couple of uncertain moments for Donnarumma already in this second half. But PSG leading as they are 2-0. Here is the long throw. Marquinhos gets up, heads it down, bounces out to the edge of the area where Barella controlled it, but just pumped it over the top of the crossbar on the volley and through for a goal kick.
Yeah, just don't know why he didn't take that first time. That Marquinhos, I think, with a header and the ball just bouncing. It did bounce up a little bit, but he's still capable of getting his right hip up nice and high and getting a shot off. He didn't, took the touch and was closed down high and wide.
That's Chris Sutton with us here in Munich, in the stadium. His low commentary position. Excellent view of Kvaratskhelia just down in front of us. The referee is trying to get Donnarumma to get a move on with things, so he's on to that. As ball's fired forward by Barella, comes out and he's not able to keep it in play, but it is a throw into Inter. Simone Inzaghi comes little tiptoes in his shiny black shoes all the way along the dotted line of his coaching area to say something to Barella. He's got to be careful, otherwise he'll be sent to the stands in the Champions League final. Now Bissek, the central defender, is going to take it on, but tried to do too much. He's out of position now. PSG might be able to break, but they can't. And Inter come again, having a better spell right now. Zalewski, now to the left-hand side, the ball is deflected across. Donnarumma comes and is able to catch it, much to the relief of those PSG supporters in the stands to our left. They've brought the Virage Auteuil with them from the Parc des Princes. I don't know whether you saw all of those white t-shirts outside the ground, and they've got a banner up there as well. That's the popular end at the Parc des Princes, and they've tried to recreate that inside the stadium here. But we've got a stoppage because Bissek, after his wander forward, has ended up injured.
Yeah, there's a diagonal run from sort of right centre half position deep into the PSG half. That Skelia tracked him all the way, won the ball back, and you mentioned John in the first half. That's a big feature of his game, isn't it? Not just with the ball, with his wizardry, dribbling. I wonder whether Bissek's holding his hamstring there, which
having changed one of your central defenders already. that would be an issue, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm not a medical expert, but I know where the hamstring is.
Yeah.
And he's holding it.
But Kvaratskhelia, when he's in possession, and here he is now receiving it from a flick from Doué. That was wonderful to watch. Hakimi, now Dembele, back to Hakimi, shoots it all the way across the 6-yard box, and Kvaratskhelia was waiting on the far side of the penalty area, and if Hakimi had been able to pick him out, that might have been 3-0 as well.
Absolutely, all about Doué though, isn't it? The magic, little twirl and flick. Hakimi goes for the far corner, but Doué this evening has been absolutely sensational.
He has been a joy to watch, and as you say, Chris, a twirl there. Used to say, didn't they, on Saturday nights, give us a twirl? Well, he did here in Munich. Nuno Mendes plays it back to Vitinha. Vitinha lifts one in, but over everyone and through, and bounces behind for a goal kick. And another double change for Inter, which sort of gives the impression to me that we're getting towards panic stations. You know, he's got to make something happen here.
Well, Bissek's not coming back on, so that's unfortunate.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Inter, and he's been led away over there into the far corner. Therefore, Carlos Augusto has been thrown into the breach, and let's see where he's going to fit in. They're going to have a rejig, and Matteo Darmian has come on as well. So we've almost got the full house now, haven't we, of the old brigade for Inter, with Acerbi on at 37, and goalkeeper Sommer at 36, and Mkhitaryan at 36, and now Darmian at 35, the former Manchester United defender. And Carlos Augusto, is on the field, as I mentioned.
Yeah, he's gone to in a left wing back role,
so he's left wing back. And Pavard had to go off early in the half. PSG now completely changed into back line, and Bastoni struggling to get there. He can't get there. It's Doué who slips the ball into the bottom corner of the internet. Off comes his shirt, and the teenager stands in front of the stands here in Munich and takes the adoration of the Paris Saint-Germain supporters. I think the moment may be about to arrive for the French champions. Paris Saint-Germain are inching ever closer to winning the Champions League. Doué with 2 goals. A Doué duo. What a night he's had. He set up the other one, and it's PSG 3, Inter 0.
the flicks and the tricks and the finishing. Doué at the double. He was never going to miss, not the evening he's had. It doesn't matter how many subs in to make, John. Bring on to freshen things up. They've been well beaten. Lovely little flick from Dembele to release Vitinha. He just waits his ball to Doué, who strolls onto it. First time, beats Sommer at his near post. Big gap at the near post. No blame really attached to Sommer. It's a composed finish. The finish of a confident young player. And surely it's game, set, match now for PSG. They've been a joy to watch this evening. They've simply blown this old, aging experience into team away.
It looks as though it's going to be Paris Saint-Germain's night here in Munich, and it looks as though Inter are going to lose in this final for the second time in 3 seasons. And with that, Luis Enrique says, 3-0 up, what shall we do? How about a bit of Bradley Barcola? How do you like that?
That's all you need, isn't it? You're an Inter defender.
And he was almost certainly going to come on. He's played in every match this season, either starting or coming off the bench. But no one will want to come off. Not one of this front three. I mean, Dembele's not scored, but you know, he's played his full part, Dembele. Inter vainly trying to come forward as Dumfries can't reach that. And João Neves just used his body really there to to block Dumfries, and it ran through for a goal kick. So there we are, Chris. PSG 3, Inter 0. And to me, this is right out of the playbook from what we've seen from this Paris Saint-Germain side in the second half of the Champions League season. And it is going to be Désiré Doué who is going to be substituted with 25 minutes to play, having put his thumbprint all over this Champions League final. And this young man, 19 years old, turns 20 on Tuesday, turns and waves an arm, waves a fist of celebration towards the PSG players as he leaves the pitch. Is replaced by Bradley Barcola. He's got a massive smile on his face. Luis Enrique says, "Well done, young man," and he goes to take his seat on the bench. What a night, what a job he's done. As Inter come forward now, there's a double collision at the near post. Marquinhos was in there, but the ball bounced for PSG, as it feels like it is one of those nights where it does.
I can't believe Luis Enrique's taken Doué off. Been the best player on the park. I suppose Barcola going on, he was always going to get some part to play in this game, and you said it, not a bad replacement at all.
Yeah, he's replaced a man who scored 15 goals this season with a man who scored 21 goals this season, Barcola. And incidentally, that goal there, that third goal for Paris Saint-Germain, brought up 150 goals in all competitions for PSG this season. 36 of them in the Champions League. They've been my team of the season in this competition.
Well, I mean, talk about doing it the hard way, getting to this final. Also, it's such a struggle at the start. It's a head scratcher, really, but it's not how you start, John. It's how you finish, and boy, have they put on a show tonight.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And by Jove, they are finishing brilliantly here. For a performance in a final like this, when the pressure's on, and this is something else, isn't it? To be able to come out and do what they've done tonight, that is the ultimate testament to what they've done.
Against a really streetwise quality in the team, and that's been a feature of PSG's play. Dembele just drifting off the back line, a little overload in the midfield and just popping the ball off and going to show for it again, and they just haven't been able to cope into really with the way that they've interchanged and combined and moved.
PSG with the jubilant backdrop of the songs of the Paris Saint-Germain supporters inside the stadium here, as Thuram rather dived into that challenge with Fabian Ruiz, who's been on the end of a number of rough challenges, and it's 50-50-ish, but he went in, he caught Fabian Ruiz, and it's a yellow card for Thuram. But you're absolutely right, Chris. In the Champions League this season, when we went to Parc des Princes in January, when they were going to play Manchester City, they were tottering then. They were actually in the elimination places in the league phase, this new league phase this season. That's where PSG were. As here they play the ball forward. Barcola might be offside, takes it on into the box. Barcola's ball across, and the arriving Dembele wasn't able to get a touch on that. There is no flag. Onside. Fabian Ruiz with a cross, comes out the head of the defender. Then Barcola couldn't keep the shot down and blazes it over the top of the bar from 8-10 yards.
Yeah, he's got to score, Barcola. Good ball from Ruiz to the far post. Hakimi trying to attack it. Takes a touch, 6 yards out on the point of the 6-yard line and hammers it a yard over the bar. Just has to control that effort. Easier if he just tries to choke that into the floor. Goes for broke. Should have been 4.
Another change, and that is that number 5? It is number 5 for Inter, and that's the end of Çalhanoğlu. He's had quite a difficult night, hasn't he, in the midfield for Inter. He did get a knock early on, if you remember, in the first few minutes of the match, but it's this brilliant PSG midfield that has run the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all the Inter midfielders have struggled. You think of Mkhitaryan, Çalhanoğlu have had many touches. Barella's been involved a little bit more.
Yeah. As PSG, Fabian Ruiz stabs it forward. Here's the tail of João Neves, who I think was fouled. Kvaratskhelia passes it forward. Fabian Ruiz on the chase, and the referee actually is going to bring it back for the foul. What's he doing here? He's looking for the player who fouled. It's a Cherby. It's a Cherby who turns with that straggly hair hanging down and that rough beard of his. He turns and he says, "Me?" Really? For that blatant block on João Neves. So at Cherby, it's not going to happen tonight after that amazing semi-final and the goal that he scored, his first Champions League goal, and what a finish as well it was on his right foot. And it looks as though that effort really in the Champions League for Inter to get through against Barcelona has been their final fling. They've not been able to live with PSG in the way that they went toe-to-toe with Barcelona. As Pacho blocked the taking of that free kick there, but the referee allows it to go. Barella, the pass out towards the left-hand side. Rather confusingly, someone in the stands here seems to have a referee's whistle that they keep blowing. Fabian Ruiz, halfway inside his own half. If you just switched onto us on 5 Live or the World Service, PSG are on their way to victory here in Munich. 3-0 up on Inter. And Luis Enrique is going to be the man, it would appear, who's finally going to deliver the big trophy for the modern Paris Saint-Germain. Dembele's pass forward. Kvaratskhelia onto this, into the box, scores number 4. That seals it. Kvaratskhelia with a finish that was unerring past summer. It's 4-0 now. All of the players are involved in the celebrations. Luis Enrique is down on the pitch here in front of us. He's dancing, he's punching his fists into the air. Paris Saint-Germain know they've got it now. They're going to be collecting that Champions League trophy. 4-0.
Oh, it's an absolute mauling, isn't it? It really is. Once he went through Kvaratskhelia, you knew he was going to finish. I think it was once again Dembele on the drift in the wide area, slips the ball through to Kvaratskhelia. Bastoni can't get near him and he just draws Sommer out. Sommer leaves that gap at the near post and he finds the gap. It's a devastating finish, it's a clinical finish. PSG have been clinical all evening. A couple of wing wizards tonight with important goals, but what an evening. They have absolutely annihilated Inter.
Wild celebrations from Paris Saint-Germain. Their supporters in the stands, all of the players, the substitutes, whether they've gone off the field, whether they're yet to come on, the coaching staff, Luis Enrique, they know that was the moment, that was the release there that we saw with that finish from this great Georgian. Kvaratskhelia was sent away and he only had one thing on his mind. That ball, after the chances that he'd missed in this match, that ball was going to end up in the back of the net, and it surely did. He smashed it past the Inter goalkeeper. That's 4-0, and this Georgian who is an absolute delight to watch, with his slight figure and his blue socks down and his white tape round his left wrist, the man who keeps the ball under his spell. Well, he's waved the wand and the PSG celebrations now are absolutely in full swing here in the home of Bayern Munich.
Yeah, but the other thing, like Kvaratskhelia, is his work rate, isn't it? His work ethic, chasing back. It's not a prima donna, doesn't think he's cracked it.
Barella might have a goal. In fact, beats Pacho, still going, lays it off to his left, and then the shot from Thuram is blocked on the edge of the 6-yard box, and PSG are able to get it away. That was, well, a chance to notch a goal, but I'm afraid it's gone. This final's gone for Inter.
Yeah, no real conviction in the finish from Thuram. Barella did well. Maybe should have been awarded a free kick. The referee played a good advantage, but that's Donnarumma down to a T, isn't it? Down to his left-hand side. Thuram trying to find that far corner. Donnarumma reading the shot. And unsurprisingly, keeping it out. Big left hand.
Well, that's what he'll want, won't he? Donnarumma, another clean sheet. No more clean sheets for Jan Sommer tonight. The very opposite. Inter mentioned their defensive capabilities, but well, tonight PSG have just been too good for them. 4 goals on the night, and the ball from Inter right across the area. I think it took a touch off one of the PSG players in the box, which means that it's gone behind for a corner. Luis Enrique is just preparing to make another change with Lucas Hernandez coming on, the French international. Corner for Inter, into the near post. That's headed away, bounces across the box, and then is hoisted high by Marquinhos. Donnarumma comes, gets a punch on that, but it's already bounced behind the line, and it's another Inter corner. Lucas Hernandez just waiting to get his chance to become a part of all this. Corner from the left-hand side this time. It's a deep one into the gloves of Donnarumma, who's able to back away, catch the ball, and then thunder down to the ground and hold that ball securely. So we've got 13 minutes to play. Chris, 13 minutes before we can properly herald Paris Saint-Germain as Champions League winners for the first time. I think what they would want to do now is nothing silly, not to give anything away.
Just not be careless, really. Keep that intensity level up for the game's done and dusted. From a player's perspective, it's just making sure you see it through now, and they will do, I'm sure of that.
2 goals in each half. Hakimi and Doué in the first 20 minutes. That set the tone, but really more than that, it was the way that Paris Saint-Germain imposed themselves on this final that set the tone then. And this second change that PSG are making, we'll see Nuno Mendes leaving the field. He's been one of their players of the season, but there again, you could probably say that about almost every man out there.
Yeah, brilliant in those 1v1 situations. Nuno Mendes, not a bad replacement.
Not bad. Yeah, Lucas Hernandez, World Cup winner, coming on to replace the Portuguese left back, who, as I say, will be playing here again, I would imagine, on Wednesday night for Roberto Martinez's Portugal in the Nations League against Germany in the semi-final in that competition, as Barcola carries it forward. This time next week, by the way, if you're listening to 5 Live, you'll be hearing us in Barcelona for Andorra against England, the next match for Thomas Tuchel and co. As Inter bring it forward. We'll bring you commentary on all of the World Cup qualifiers and internationals. Kvaratskhelia is tackling back on Dumfries. They love that, and then Dumfries fouls Kvaratskhelia, and it's a free kick. And they come across. Coutinho comes across and gives him a cuddle.
But that sums up PSG, this PSG team under Luis Enrique. Didn't happen with Mbappe in the team. Forwards tracking back. And it's been a constant all night, hasn't it? Good with the ball. Outstanding without the ball. Luis Enrique a couple of moments ago applauding Dembele for shutting down Jan Sommer. Jan Sommer punting the ball up the pitch. PSG going into offside. It's all about the work rate, isn't it? That work ethic, the team spirit.
Yeah, as Fabian Ruiz plays it to Kvaratskhelia, who skips in field, but Barrella's able to get a touch on this, and it's deflected back into the Inter penalty area. So 4-0, and the worry for Inter is that it seems to me that PSG are in the mood to actually get 1 or 2 more. And with gaps showing at the back and the changes that they've had to make, Inter, that might be entirely possible.
I think it's one of those as Inter, they've got enough experience in the team. They're not getting back in this. Just shut up shop.
As Inter come forward and actually try a shot from the edge of the area that is hit by Zalewski, but straight at Donnarumma, who is able to make a routine save. 10 minutes to go. Paris Saint-Germain 4-0 up as Marquinhos puts his foot on the ball. Lucas Hernandez is able to get his first feel of that Champions League final ball, and then passes it to Vitinha, who wasn't able this time to slip the pass through against Dembele. Cut out by Acerbi, but watch out into Barcala's now onto it. Barcala, he's passed Acerbi! Oh, he's put it wide! Oh, he did everything there! He left Acerbi on the seat of his pants and just had to pop it past Sommer into the bottom corner and put it wide into the side netting.
I can't believe he's missed that. It was so good how he set Acerbi up, shaped on his right foot to fire a shot into the far corner, sat him down, and then one-on-one has to score. Tries to beat Sommer at his near post from 6 yards and drags it horribly wide. What a piece of skill though, and then the poor execution.
Well, where's that come from? That's the Bradley Barcala I remember last season. Do you remember the match against Newcastle? Some of the chances he missed in that match. But this one, I mean, he created with absolute genius, really. And he made Acerbi look 57, never mind 37. Here's Lucas Hernandez. If they get another one, by the way, the biggest score line in terms of winning margin is 4 goals. That's the biggest winning margin in any European club final. So another one would set a record as Barcala is able to carry it forward. So that's any of the European competitions. My mind goes back to Middlesbrough when they lost to Seville. That was 4-0. And of course, one of the most famous finals of all, Real Madrid, Eintracht Frankfurt. That was 7-3, wasn't it? So that was the 4-goal margin. And now we get the Olés. They might be French, but they're giving it the Olés. And why not? I'm just looking to my left now. There are 3 tiers there of PSG supporters. And again, just to underline it, you maybe weren't listening earlier, as the ball is played forward by Fabian Ruiz to Barcala, who pulls his shot wide across the face of goal. Dembele was waiting in the middle. He's not got in on the act yet. Hakimi, 2 for Doué and 1 for Kvaratskhelia. And Luis Enrique says, okay, let's throw another 3 on. So Warren Zaire-Emery, another of the teenagers, is going to come on into the midfield to replace Fabian Ruiz, who I say has taken a few knocks tonight. So a very highly rated Zaire-Emery is going to come on. Gonzalo Ramos, this is a move that we're very used to seeing. Gonzalo Ramos coming on to replace Kvaratskhelia. So that's the end of his evening. So the Georgian has left the field. Sorry to see him go as well, Chris.
Yeah. Absolutely. What an evening he's had. Was it Neves who's as well? I think it is Neves.
Yes, it was João Neves. So those are the 3 changes. And we have also coming onto the field Seni Mayulu, another of the teenagers. So that's 2 19-year-olds coming on. And Sommer clearing the ball from his own penalty area to the halfway line as Inter again mount some kind of attack. They're managing to maintain some energy in this, even though at 4-0 down, that is a mightily tough thing to do. Darmian, and it's going to be so hard for Inzaghi and the players to have to explain this away. The simple explanation is PSG have just been far too good.
I think it's one of those after, you try and analyse the game and you can strip everything back, but at that point you made, John, PSG have just been in a different league.
They have. Darmian passing it through the middle where Martinez tries to turn on the edge of the box, but just too physical. He's not been able to get into the game, Martinez, as he has had a recent injury, but I don't know whether that's anything to do with it. Just not seen enough of the ball.
No, exactly that. Lack of service. In fairness, PSG, Thatcher and Marquinhos have played the two into strikers pretty well this evening.
That's Chris Sutton with us on 5 Live on this joyous night for Paris Saint-Germain Football Club, as PSG break forward again and the gaps once again open up. Barcola receives it on the edge of the box, back to the edge of the area, into Barcola, left side of the box, now forward again, and that's it! It's 5-0! It's a record scoreline! Semi Mayulu, the 19-year-old, has sparked extraordinary celebrations on the pitch here in Munich. 5-0 on the night, the biggest score that has ever been witnessed in a European club final, the biggest margin of victory. And Luis Enrique, all of the years that Paris Saint-Germain have waited for this day to arrive, it is all absolutely pouring out here with that finish for number 5 from another of the Academy products, Semi Mayulu. Paris Saint-Germain 5, Inter 0. What a scoreline.
And what a moment for Mayulu. Clever little ball into Barcola, and he just carries his run on. Little underlap on the wrong side of Darmian. Angle against him, left-footed, goes for power, beats Sommer at his near post, in off the near post. What a great moment for the young man. Off the bench, gets his goal. I mean, this is an absolute pummeling, isn't it?
Well, he did score in the Champions League earlier this season in the playoff round, when they hammered 7 goals past Brest, and that is their record win in European competitions. But for all of the predictions and all of the talking before this match, here over the last couple of days and in the build-up to it, 50-50, could go Inter, could go PSG.
Are you having a pop at me there, John?
I was saying exactly the same thing. No one is saying Paris Saint-Germain are going to hammer them 5-0.
Maybe lack a bit of experience. How would they cope?
All of that.
Well, I tell you what, Luis Enrique can move, can't he? You talk about the running the PSG players have done on the pitch, blimey. Seeing him tearing down the touchline, celebrating.
What, the guy who does the Ironman and the marathons?
Well, that's endurance, John.
Cycling.
That's endurance. Shouldn't be dynamism.
I think the amount of ground he's covered, he's probably lapped this stadium 15 times. I mean, the PSG supporters in the stands, they must not be able to believe their eyes here tonight. And they've got their scarves up. They've got their scarves up above their heads, down in the bottom tier. In fact, all 3 tiers now. And when I say tears, that stand will be full of tears, won't it? Tears of joy. And again, to underline it, this club, Paris Saint-Germain, was only formed in 1970. So it's a relatively young football club when the old Paris FC was merged with Stade Saint-Germain. But then, of course, the big change came when the Qatari ownership got involved. They want 6 now. Barcola plays it across. Dembele, who's still not been able to get on the score sheet here tonight, despite the 5 PSG goals. Vitinha, it's almost like they're trying to set him up for this. Vitinha. Then Zaire Emery over to the far side. Inter absolutely chasing shadows.
How good has he been, Vitinha? Besides just giving the ball for the first time this evening. But, you know, talk about Doué and Skelly up.
Yellow card for Hakimi there for breaking down the Inter counter-attack.
But Vitinha's the one who knits everything together, isn't he?
And that is it! The referee says 90 minutes are enough. He's basically said to Inter, you've taken enough punishment. Paris Saint-Germain have won the Champions League here in Munich. All of those years of waiting. I think some PSG supporters wondered whether this day would ever come. Disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. Defeat in the final, in the COVID final, when none of the Paris Saint-Germain supporters could be there to witness it. But they are here tonight in their thousands, and they must not be able to believe what they have seen. 5-0. Luis Enrique is the man. He's brought the trophy. He's brought the big night. And Inter have to accept that they were a distant second best, losing in this final for the second time in 3 years. But tonight was PSG's night.
Yeah, and a perfect Paris Saint-Germain this evening. What a performance. Blew away a wily old Inter team. You know, he talks about the flair and the flamboyance, but this is a Paris Saint-Germain team who fight as well when out of possession, and they suffocated Inter.
And let me just describe this, because Luis Enrique is leaving the celebrations now. And what celebrations! He's won the Champions League before, but he won it with Barcelona. This is the team that he built, and he is right at the front of this in his black t-shirt. He's down there, all of the players following him. He's like the Pied Piper of Munich, and he's dancing and he's punching the air, the smile on his face. I think probably everyone knows the agonies and the personal tragedy that he has come through. Well, tonight is a night that he can really enjoy this, because he is the architect. Qatar may have provided the money for this, and eventually the ship has come in, but they needed Luis Enrique to do it, Chris.
Yeah, and guide them. He has, even him in his wildest dreams, I don't think he would have seen this dominance this evening, this scoreline against an Inter team who have been excellent in this competition. But there's ways to win a football match, there's ways to win a final, and blimey, that was one of them. They barely put a foot wrong in every area, every aspect of the team. They were dominant, and this is a young team. Maybe this is just the start.
Yeah, in January we thought they might be going out of the competition altogether, but then they gave Manchester City a good hiding and just went on from there. They rescued their Champions League season. They knocked out Liverpool, the number one seeds. They knocked out Aston Villa. They knocked out Arsenal. And here in the final in Munich, well, they've knocked Inter out of the park. Paris Saint-Germain 5, Inter 0 is the extraordinary final score to this 2025 Champions League final. And Steve Crossman, like the rest of us, is wondering, how's that happened? Well, what they're supposed to do here is they're supposed to receive their medals, give their thank yous, and then go and stand on a stage over to the right. They cannot leave that trophy alone. Luis Enrique, who's the first man up, who walked through all of the PSG players, who slapped them on the back, he actually stood behind the plinth, behind the trophy, which has the red and blue ribbons on it, clapped his hands together, and the other players just joined in there. And only now actually have they begun to move away, and very soon we will have that moment. And what a fitting man it is for PSG to lift the trophy here. Marquinhos, who is waiting at the end of the line to do just that. And that exchange as well between the PSG president, Nasser Al-Khelaifi, the smiles, the unadulterated joy. And now it's Marquinhos. Marquinhos steps up there onto the blue stage, and there's the hug between the captain and the president together. He slaps him on the back, he cuddles him, and Marquinhos now moves over to the UEFA president, Alexander Ceferin, and has that medal put around his neck. Marquinhos, the number 5, 12 years at the club, captain for 5 years. He thought this day might never come. They all thought this day might never come. But here it is, on the last day of May 2025, it finally comes to pass for Paris Saint-Germain as Marquinhos walks the trophy across and raises it above his head to signify that Paris Saint-Germain are champions of Europe, dominant in France for so long, with all of their Qatar riches. They were in danger of going out of this competition in January, but here they are now at the end of May with the trophy in their hands. And in Munich we have Paris Saint-Germain as first-time winners, only the second French club to win it, both here in Munich. Marseille held that position for so many years, but now Paris Saint-Germain can say they have won the European Cup. And the scenes of celebration in front of the stage. Behind them on the arch, it says PSG winners, and that is precisely what they are. Gold ticker tape all over the place. Champions League theme playing, and big French smiles everywhere you look.